Okay, so today we're actually doing day 1 of the notes. I know it's out of order, just roll with it. So front page of your notes, and we're going to talk about classification, specifically what is taxonomy and what are dichotomous keys. So classification is how we group organisms together and divide them out into different categories. So we're going to do this based upon characteristics that we think are of biological significance. And taxonomy is the branch of science that classifies organisms using binomial nomenclature, which is a two-part naming system. So the whole reason that we're going to classify life is we need to be able to understand how organisms are related and how they're different from each other. So as I mentioned, binomial nomenclature is a scientifically accepted system of giving all living things a two-part name. And there are rules for how you do this. So if you look at the example here, a red oak, a type of tree, is called Quercus rubra. Quercus is its genus name, and it starts with a capital Q. And then the species part is all lowercase. These are Latin names because that's the universal language of scientists. And if you are writing them by hand, you would need to draw an underline under this whole thing. If you are typing, then you put it in italics like you see here. So the taxonomy system was developed in the 1700s by a scientist named Carolus Linnaeus. And he started by dividing things based on their physical characteristics, so basically what they looked like. And he originally had just 2 kingdoms, plant and animal. And now scientists that deal with taxonomy look at different things. So they're not just looking at physical characteristics they can see, they're going to look at their phylogeny and see how organisms are related to others based on evolution. So they're going to use those cladograms and phylogenetic trees that we've talked about previously. Scientists also look at the genetics of an organism, and they can compare the gene sequences to see how closely related species are. So this is one of the cladograms that we've studied before. What characteristic would all of these organisms share? Well, you're going to look here on the list of traits, and the one that comes first, that all the animals evolved after, would be the vertebrae. And then the next question, what is unique about crocodiles and birds? So we're looking here at crocodiles and birds, and both of them create eggs that have shells. So when you're talking about taxonomy, you're looking at different levels of classification, and each of those levels represents a taxon. So these are the different taxa, or different taxonomic levels. The broadest one would be the domain, and the domain is going to have the greatest number of organisms in it. For example, there's a domain called Eukarya, and every single organism on Earth that has a true nucleus would be in the domain Eukarya. So that's a whole lot of organisms. Beneath that, you have a kingdom. Kingdoms are going to be still really big groups, like there's the kingdom Animalia and the kingdom Plantae, which would be all the animals on Earth in Animalia and all the plants on Earth in Plantae. Then we have phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. So when we talked about that Quercus rubra, the red oak, it is very specific. It is only that specific type of tree and no others. So it will have the smallest number of organisms in that species level. So good idea to learn these levels is just remember domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species by thinking dumb King Philip came over for good spaghetti. And that will help you remember those levels. This chart here is just showing you a comparison between a human here, a common chimpanzee, a gray wolf, a tiger snake, and a monarch butterfly. And over here on this column, you see the different taxonomic levels. So the human and the chimp and the gray wolf and the tiger snake and the monarch butterfly are all in the same domain. They're also all in the same kingdom. When it comes to phylum, we're knocking out the monarch butterfly. It's not as closely related to us. And you continue going through all the levels, and you will see that the common chimpanzee is the closest because it is the same all the way through the family level. So the same domain, same kingdom, phylum, class, order, and family. They would be our closest relative compared to the others. So we actually have 6 kingdoms. We've got the kingdom Archaebacteria, Bacteria, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. Those are the 6 that you need to know. This chart here is going to show you the characteristics about each group. Notice that the domain Archaea has only one kingdom underneath it, just the kingdom Archaebacteria. They are prokaryotic, they are unicellular. Within their cell structure, you're going to find polysaccharides, proteins. The cell wall does not have peptidoglycan. That's really only important for those of you that are in pre-AP. If you're in level, you don't need to know that little detail. And they are all autotrophs, meaning they create their own energy. The domain Bacteria is just the kingdom Bacteria. They are also prokaryotic, so no nucleus. They are unicellular. Their cell also contains polysaccharides and proteins, but their cell wall does have peptidoglycan. Again, just a fact for pre-AP. And this kingdom can be autotrophic or heterotrophic. You'll find members of both groups. Then we get into the domain Eukarya. Eukarya is everything with a nucleus, so it involves kingdom Protista, fungi, plant, and animal. Protists are eukaryotic. They are mostly unicellular, but you will learn there are some that are multicellular. And in their cell wall, you possibly could find cellulose. And then you find both autotrophs and heterotrophs in this group. Kingdom fungi is eukaryotic. They are multicellular, with the exception of yeast. Yeast is unicellular. Their cell wall contains chitin, and they are all heterotrophs. They have to digest something else to get their energy. They cannot make their own food. And then the kingdom Plantae, they are eukaryotic and multicellular. Their cell walls contain cellulose, and they are autotrophs. They do photosynthesis to create their energy. And then kingdom Animalia, they are eukaryotic. They are multicellular. They do not have cell walls, and they are heterotrophs because we cannot do photosynthesis. Animals like us have to eat something from one of these other kingdoms to get our energy. So you might want to pause this slide so you make sure you have all the blanks filled in, and then resume when you're done. So the next thing that you guys have to be able to do is use a dichotomous key, which is a tool that allows the user to identify organisms in our natural world based upon characteristics that organism has. So the word dichotomous means divided into 2 parts. So you're going to be given 2 distinct choices at each step. Oftentimes they're going to be opposites, and it's going to work kind of like a choose-your-own-adventure book where you're picking the statement that you choose, and from there it's going to lead either to another choice or to the name that helps you identify the organism or object. So we're going to do some of those together just to practice. Now, this is a dichotomous key for insects. I know you guys know what an insect is, and you could probably name all these, but pretend that you've never seen these before, okay? And you are given this bug right here, A. You want to figure out the name of it. So you're always, always, always going to start at statement 1. So statement 1, Wings are covered by an exoskeleton, or wings are not covered by an exoskeleton. These wings here, you can see them. There's no exoskeleton on top of them, so we are going to go with choice 1B. So 1B says go to step 3. That means I skip over the 2's and I go down to 3. 3A, the wings point outward from the body, or the wings point toward the rear of the body. Well, they're pointing towards his butt, so that is pointing towards the rear. That means this is a B. We're going to do the same thing with bug B. However, we're going to start back up at the top with A. Are the wings covered by an exoskeleton or not covered by an exoskeleton? I can't see his wings. They're underneath this shell part. So I am going to go to step 2. Does the body have a round shape or an elongated shape? I would say it's elongated, so that is my firefly. For bug C, start at 1 again. Are the wings covered by an exoskeleton or not covered? They are not covered, so I go to step 3. Do the wings point outward from the body or towards the rear? They are definitely outward. That is my dragonfly. And then I'd go to bug D, start at 1 again. Are the wings covered by an exoskeleton or not? They are covered, so I'd go to 2. Does it have a round or elongated shape? It is definitely round, so that is a ladybug. Okay, so that is how these work with real organisms. Sometimes you may have things that are not familiar with you, like these little aliens. So let's look at this green alien here, and we would need to start. Statement 1, is his mouth open or not open? It is open, go to 2. Does he have arms or no arms? He does not have any arms, so he is Alienus quadrilegicus. Weird name, right? They tried to Latinize it to make it look scientific. Then we need to do this little guy here, this little purple one. So this guy here, is his mouth open or not open? It is not open, so I'm going to go to 4. Does he have no horns or horns? He does not have any horns. Go to 5. Legs, no legs or legs? He definitely has legs, so he is Alienus fuzzicus. I'm going to do this pink one here. Is his mouth open or not open? It is definitely open. Go to 2. Arms or no arms? He has these little arms, so it tells me to go to 3. Hairy or not hairy? Well, compared to these guys, he doesn't look like he has any hair. So I'd say not hairy. He is Alienus tritoothicus. Get it? Tritoothicus. He's got 3 teeth. So Latin names are typically descriptive of an organism. Now we got to do this yellow one here. Is his mouth open or not open? It is not open, so I go to 4. No horns or horns? No horns, go to 5. No legs or legs? I would say no legs. So he is Alienus blobicus. Next we're looking at this one here, this blue one. Mouth open or not open? It is not open. Skip down to 4. No horns or horns? He definitely has horns right here. So he is Alienus stripicus. And then we do this last one, our little red one, right here. The red one, his mouth is open, so I'm going to go to 2. He has arms. I'm going to go to 3. Hairy or not hairy? He is hairy, so his name is Alienus hericus. So that is how these work. They are pretty simple. I'm going to put the answers on the screen here in case you missed it. Remember, they all started with Alienus. And the next thing that you are going to do is there is a video from Crash Course on Taxonomy that you're going to watch, and the questions that go with it are actually in your notes packet. So as the video is going, you need to answer the notes, and then when you are all done with that, then the substitutes will show you the correct answers. Make sure you have them. But please make sure you're writing your answers down as we go.